fairness?
You know, when you look at the gold standard good friend Kipchumba has mentioned, part of it is transparency. And transparency means that there needs to be understanding both within the IEBC and with all the players. So, for example, when we hear that IEBC members were surprised that the ballot papers had already been printed, when we are hearing arguments about whether the printing should have happened before we even gazette the candidates, it brings a lot of questions. And let's remember that the 2017 ruling was not just about the results themselves. It was about the process, and the process does matter. If someone goes to court and says that those ballot papers are illegal because legally the process of gazetting has not done, that person could have a case in court. And this is not just about which side could win. You could win an election legitimately, but the process is wrong, and the election is annulled. And if the election is annulled, then we go back through this process again. We have to procure again, we have to gazette again, etc., etc. So it behooves the IEBC to begin a process that is, one, transparent, but is also very clear in the eyes of the law and in the eyes of the players that are involved, that what they are doing is above board.
Yeah.
The questions that are being asked are, to me, not trivial. And they're not partisan questions, if you ask me. They're logical questions. Because in this country, we live in a country where if your name is not gazetted, you cannot enter office. So if your name is not gazetted, and we know there are court cases pending for Wavinya Ndeti, for example, and the court determines that she should not be on the ballot, and the ballot papers have been printed with her name on it, what happens? And that brings me to my second question. Does this mean that we have a potential of wastage? Because if the ballots have been printed with certain names, and the courts determine in the next week or so that Wavinya Ndeti, Sakaja, etc., the people who have cases, cannot run for office because they're not legible, then what will happen? Will we have to print again? So there's a lot of issues around this, and it is not a partisan issue. I think it is a citizen issue. It is a matter of law, and it behooves the IEBC as soon as possible to begin to give a level and a measure of credibility, a measure of transparency, and give us timelines that actually work. Otherwise, what they're doing is an exercise that could lead to a lot of confusion and possible annulment of the election.